When most of us think about aging, we expect changes in our joints, our memory, even our sleep. But hair, that one often catches people off guard. I still remember visiting my mother when she was in her 80s. She was active, strong, still cooking for the whole family. But when I hugged her, I noticed her once thick hair had thinned at the crown. She brushed it off with, "It's just age, John." But that moment stayed with me because hair loss in seniors often isn't just vanity. It can be the body's way of whispering that something deeper is going on. And yet, too often we accept it as inevitable. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, where we explore aging not with fear, but with curiosity and care. Today, we're looking at thinning hair and scalp health in older adults, why it happens, what it really means, and how both modern science and traditional wisdom can help us respond. And joining me, as always, is someone whose perspective never fails to remind me that health is more than lab numbers. Dr. Hinohara, it's an honor to have you here.
Thank you, John. It is always a joy to sit across from you and speak with our listeners. You know, in Chinese we say, the hair is the flower of the blood. It means that what you see on the outside is a reflection of what is happening within. When hair begins to thin, it is rarely only about appearance. It is like the autumn leaves turning dry before winter, a quiet message that the roots beneath need attention. Too often, people chase after shampoos or lotions, but forget that hair does not grow from bottles. It grows from the nourishment of the body, the balance of the blood, and the calmness of the spirit. I have treated many patients over the decades who believed hair loss was only a cosmetic concern. But when we looked closer, we often found deficiencies, imbalances, or even emotional burdens hidden behind it. Hair is not just vanity, John. It is vitality.
That's such a powerful way to put it. The flower of the blood. Already I can sense that we're going to go deeper than just the surface. So let's start with the question I hear most often in my own practice. Why is my hair thinning now? Patients in their 60s or 70s often expect wrinkles, but they're surprised, even embarrassed, by sudden hair loss. From the Western side, we usually point to hormone changes, nutrient deficiencies, or side effects from medication. But Dr. Hinohara, how do you understand this through your tradition?
In traditional Chinese medicine, we see hair as deeply tied to the kidney essence and the liver blood. The kidney stores our vital energy, what you might call the body's reserve battery. The liver moves the blood smoothly through the body. When these weaken with age, hair is among the first to suffer. It grows thinner, drier, or begins to fall. You could imagine it like an old tree. If the roots no longer draw enough water from the soil, the leaves at the top begin to dry and fall. The problem is not the leaf itself. It is the soil, the roots, the flow of nourishment.
That resonates even in Western terms. When nutrients like vitamin D, ferritin, or B12 are low, the body prioritizes vital organs, the brain, the heart, the muscles. The scalp becomes the last in line, and so hair follicles go into a kind of quiet hibernation.
Yes. And often the change is subtle at first. The shine is lost. The texture feels fragile. But these are whispers. If ignored, the body may later shout with fatigue, weakness, or illness. Hair is often the first signal.
That's such an important point. Too many of my patients are told their lab results are normal, even when they're at the very bottom of the acceptable range. It may be normal for a 30-year-old, but for someone at 70, that borderline low iron or vitamin D might already be enough to weaken the hair.
Exactly. We must not wait for the crisis. Prevention is about listening early, when the body still speaks softly.
I've noticed that when hair starts to thin, most people, especially seniors, rush to the store for the latest shampoo or conditioner. They'll spend hundreds of dollars on products that promise revitalization, but rarely see any change. From my side, I see three common mistakes. First, people treat hair loss like a surface problem, when the real cause is usually deeper inside. Second, they often ignore nutrition and assume diet no longer matters at their age. And third, they try aggressive treatments and like harsh chemicals or excessive heat, which only damage fragile strands further. Would you agree with those, Doctor Hinohara?
Yes, John. Those are mistakes I see too, though I would add one more. People try to fight the body instead of listening to it. When they lose hair, they feel betrayed. They attack the scalp with chemicals, or they hide it with heavy dyes. But this only exhausts the body more. In Chinese medicine, we say, "Do not shout at the river when it flows slowly. Clear the stones instead." Hair loss is not the enemy. It is a message. If we chase only the symptom, we miss the wisdom beneath it.
That's a beautiful way of framing it. And I think it helps shift the mindset. Instead of blaming the hair for falling, we should be asking what the body needs.
Yes, the mistake is not hair loss itself. It is in ignoring what the hair is trying to say.
So, if the usual shampoos and quick fixes don't address the root problem, what should seniors do instead? From your perspective, Doctor Hinohara, what are the first gentle steps someone can take to care for thinning hair?
In my tradition, we always begin with nourishment, from the inside and from the outside. Food is medicine, and so are the simple rituals of care. Internally, I often recommend black sesame seeds and walnuts. In Chinese medicine, both are said to strengthen the kidney and liver, and modern science shows they contain healthy oils, minerals, and antioxidants that support the hair follicles. A small handful each day, taken with breakfast or stirred into warm porridge, can slowly enrich the blood and moisten the scalp. Externally, I often suggest rinsing the hair with fermented rice water. It is a simple preparation. Soak rice in clean water overnight, allow it to ferment slightly, and then use the liquid to wash the scalp. The process releases amino acids and minerals that soothe the skin and soften the strands. The fragrance is subtle, and the effect builds over weeks, not days. Another gentle method is scalp massage with warm oil. In the evenings, using sesame or coconut oil, massaged slowly with the fingertips, one can awaken circulation and invite the blood to nourish the roots. It is not only a treatment, it is also a ritual of calmness, which helps the nervous system rest.
I love how practical those steps are in sesame, walnuts, rice water, oil massage. They sound less like treatments and more like daily acts of care.
Yes, because the goal is not to fight the body, but to remind it of balance. When we honour these small rituals, the hair responds, not only with growth, but with strength and shine that reflect inner harmony.
What strikes me is how much of what you're describing is beginning to show up in a modern research. Take black sesame seeds and walnuts, for example. They're rich in omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin E, and minerals like zinc and iron, all nutrients linked with hair health. Deficiencies in any of these can slow follicle activity, and rice water may improve hair feel and reduce breakage via inositol, but evidence for hair regrowth is limited. That means less breakage and more resilience. Even scalp massage has measurable effects. When you massage the scalp, blood flow increases to the follicles. Imaging studies show improved microcirculation in the skin, and with better circulation, nutrients and oxygen actually reach the follicles more efficiently.
Yes, John. What modern science measures, tradition has often practiced for centuries. When our ancestors observed that hair grew stronger with sesame or rice water, they did not yet know the terms omega-3 or antioxidants, but they could see the results, and they trusted the patterns of nature.
That's the beauty of this bridge, and tradition offers the wisdom of observation, and modern medicine explains the mechanisms. When we put them together, the advice becomes both poetic and practical.
Indeed, the leaf does not ask whether the sunlight is vitamin D or photonic energy. It simply receives and it grows. So too with us. We may call it nutrients or qi, but what matters is balance, and the body knows how to respond. Let me share with you the story of a woman I once treated many years ago in Chengdu. She was 72, a retired teacher, proud of her silver hair, but over the course of one winter she noticed it thinning rapidly, especially along the crown. Each morning she found more strands on her pillow. When she came to me, her first words were, "Doctor, I feel like I'm disappearing." It was not just the hair she mourned, it was her sense of vitality, of being seen. We examined her diet and found she was eating little more than plain rice and tea. Her ferritin and vitamin D were very low, though she did not know it at the time. I encouraged her to add black sesame seeds and walnuts each day, to prepare bone broth once a week, and to walk in the morning sun. Externally, I taught her how to rinse her hair with fermented rice water and to massage her scalp gently in the evenings. She followed this with quiet devotion. At first, she noticed only that her scalp felt less dry. Then, within 3 months, the shedding slowed. By summer, her hair had not only stopped falling, but had regained a soft lustre that reflected the light. She smiled one day and said, "It feels as though my roots are drinking again."
That's such a moving story. And what I love is that it wasn't one single miracle treatment. It was steady, simple, consistent care. That's something every listener can relate to.
Yes, healing is rarely dramatic. It is usually gentle, like a stream wearing smooth the stones. The key is patience and respect for the body's rhythm.
For those of you listening at home, I want to slow this down and really walk you through what we've learned today, step by step. Because when you're faced with thinning hair, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. You see strands falling in the shower or on your pillow, and the first thought is often panic. How do I stop this? But the truth is, the path to healthier hair isn't about panic. It's about steady, thoughtful actions. Let's start with the foundation, testing and awareness. If you are over 60 and noticing changes in your hair, the very first step isn't a shampoo bottle. It's a conversation with your doctor. Ask your doctor to check ferritin/iron studies, vitamin D, B12, and thyroid TSH. Also review recent illnesses, new medications, and examine the scalp. These 4 markers tell us whether your body has enough raw material to support hair growth. And here's where I want to be clear. Many times patients are told their results are normal, but normal on paper can mean barely enough to function. If ferritin is below approximately 50 nanograms per milliliter, iron repletion may help in diffuse shedding. Talk with your clinician since thresholds vary. Low vitamin D is linked to several hair loss conditions. Treating a deficiency may help, but the ideal target level for hair isn't yet settled. So don't just ask if your results are normal. Ask if they are optimal for your age and health.
Yes. In my view, numbers are not everything. They are like footprints in the snow. They show the direction, but not the whole journey. Still, they can guide us. When we find these deficiencies early, we give the body a chance to correct gently before the problem becomes louder.
Exactly. And once you've checked the inside, the second step is nourishment through food. This is where Western nutrition and traditional Chinese medicine meet beautifully. Black sesame seeds, just a small spoonful stirred into warm porridge, are rich in healthy oils, iron, and calcium. Walnuts, taken daily, provide omega-3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation and keep hair follicles supplied with nutrients. Bone broth, simmered slowly, releases collagen and minerals that support not just the hair but also the joints and skin. And don't forget leafy greens. Spinach, bok choy, kale. These are quiet powerhouses of folate and iron.
When I was a boy, my grandmother would grind sesame seeds into a fine paste, then stir it into warm rice congee. She would say, "This will darken your hair and strengthen your bones." At the time, I thought it was just an old saying, but now, after many decades, I see that she was right.
The third step is scalp care. This part often gets overlooked because people think of hair care as shampoo and conditioner. But the scalp is living skin, with blood vessels, nerves, and tiny muscles that hold each hair in place. If the scalp is dry, inflamed, or poorly nourished, the hair will struggle. That's where fermented rice water comes in. Twice a week, prepare it as a rinse. Let it soak overnight, allow the subtle fermentation, and use the liquid to wash your scalp. You don't need much, just enough to gently coat the strands and scalp. And then, oil massage. Warm a small amount of sesame or coconut oil. With clean fingertips, make slow circles across your scalp, starting at the temples and moving backward. This improves circulation, reduces tension, and brings nutrients to the follicles. It also sends a message to your nervous system. You are safe, you can rest, and rest itself is medicine.
Yes, the act of massage is more than technique. It is presence. When you touch the scalp with patience, you remind the body that it has not been forgotten. Many elders feel invisible as they age, even to themselves. But in this small ritual, they remember, I am still worthy of care.
And finally, the fourth step, gentleness. If your hair is thinning, it's already fragile. Avoid harsh dyes, chemical straighteners, or high heat tools. Choose wide-toothed combs. Use soft towels. Even small habits, not like pulling hair back tightly and white, can add unnecessary stress. So, to summarize for everyone listening, check inside, test vitamin D, ferritin, iron, B12. Nourish with food, sesame, walnuts, bone broth, leafy greens. Care for the scalp, rice water rinse, gentle oil massage. Practice gentleness. Avoid harsh treatments and respect your hair's current state. If you remember these 4 steps, you're already far ahead of where most people start.
And remember, do not measure progress by the calendar alone. Hair grows slowly, like bamboo. At first, you may see no change, but beneath the soil, the roots are awakening. Trust the process and allow time to be your ally.
Dr. Hinohara, thank you for guiding us through this conversation. What I've learned today is that hair thinning isn't just a cosmetic issue. It's often a signal, a quiet reminder that the body needs more support. And that support doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as sunlight, sesame, rice water, and gentle touch.
Yes, John. In Chinese we say, the hair is the messenger of the blood. If we listen carefully, we not only improve the hair, but we also protect the heart, the bones, and the spirit. Aging is not about losing beauty. It is about learning to care for ourselves with deeper wisdom.
That's beautifully said. To everyone listening, if your hair has been thinning, don't see it as betrayal. See it as communication. Try these small rituals for a week. Notice how not just your hair, but your sense of calm begins to change.
And remember this, your hair is not leaving you. It is asking you to return to yourself. Care for it gently, and you will find that it too can return.
That's the perfect note to end on. Thank you, Doctor Hinohara, and thank you to all our listeners. This has been the Senior Health Podcast, where we explore the art of aging with strength, clarity, and peace.